But I do think the 21-week EMA is going to be a key level of interest for the bulls on the next pullback. Whether we pull back now and pull back to 91, 9200, find support and continue up, or if we continue this parabolic move to 12, 13,000 and then pull back to the 21-week EMA to these current levels and then rally out and going into the halving. This is something that I think is actually quite likely, quite possible. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Kevin Svenson, and today we're going to be talking about the price of Bitcoin and going over some of the top altcoins. Right now, Bitcoin dominance is still decreasing. Money is still flowing into the altcoin market, and altcoins have been seeing some powerful bullish moves. We're going to be looking at altcoins from a long-term perspective, and also we're going to be looking at Bitcoin on the 4-hour chart, the daily chart, and also the weekly chart, and looking at a very key moving average that I'm keeping my eye on right now, talking about some potentials going into the next few months, going into the halving. Also, as some of you may know, in my Patreon, we are building an altcoin portfolio where you can actually take a look at what altcoins I am buying. And the cool part about that is in Patreon, I'm using the CryptoWatch platform to manage all of my positions across all the top exchanges. Not only will you be able to see what altcoins I'm accumulating, you will also be able to watch me use the CryptoWatch platform in action. And if you guys haven't signed up with the CryptoWatch platform, definitely do that right now. Right now, looking at the CryptoWatch asset card list, we can see that Bitcoin is currently down a little bit in the past 24 hours. We did see a correction this morning, slight correction, but we've already begun to recover. And if you're looking at all the other top cryptos, everything is seeing really nice gains for the most part. Recently, we have seen a little bit of a pullback in these coins because of what Bitcoin did this morning. Looking at the daily chart for Bitcoin, we were on a downtrend for the past 6 months, and we've finally broken out of that downtrend. We've broken out of the downward sloping price channel. We've actually created support above the downward sloping price channel and continue to see higher lows. We are now trending above the downward sloping price channel. And today we actually tested the macro high wick on Coinbase. On other exchanges like Bitstamp, we are already trading above the previous macro high. So at this point, it's definitely safe to say that we are already retesting the macro high. On some exchanges, we are trading above the previous macro high. So things are looking extremely bullish for Bitcoin. And let's just go into the 4-hour chart so we can see this a little bit more detailed. Bitcoin has been in this rising wedge since we broke out of the downward sloping price channel. The price action has been squeezing here. We had a false break out above the rising wedge. We found support above the rising wedge, just above 10,000. Then we saw a dump back into the rising wedge, bounced through this pattern again to the upside. And right now the bulls are actually making progress. Despite this slight pullback this morning, the bulls are making progress because we are creating support along the previous resistance of the rising wedge. If we're looking at the daily chart again, we have seen steady higher lows. Even though we're seeing resistance now at 10,500, which is the previous macro high, which could act as a resistance point. Regardless, we are seeing higher lows right now, and there is no sign at the moment that this trend has stopped, right? We are seeing steady higher lows. We are now building support along the resistance of the rising wedge pattern, and we are bouncing off that level. Now, of course, if Bitcoin does sell off and starts to fall below this upward sloping trend line, then things could get a little bit more bearish in the short term or the medium term. But right now, it does not seem like that's going to happen at the moment, but anything is possible. But one thing I want to discuss is a key moving average. The 21-week EMA for Bitcoin has been historically a very, very important indicator to keep track of. Right now, I'm looking at the chart from 2012 to 2013 on the weekly. Bitcoin historically always holds above the 21-week EMA during bull markets, and it always holds below during bear markets. Same thing with the 2015-2016 entry into the bull market. We broke above it and held above it for the entirety of the bull market, all the way up till the end of 2017 when we hit 20,000. Then we entered a bear market and we held below it. And now Bitcoin is breaking above this once again. And if you guys are familiar with my halving analysis, my long-term predictions for Bitcoin, then you should know that we're looking for that second parabolic advance to the all-time highs right now. And just like every other halving cycle, looking back at 2013, 2012, we had two parabolic advances and then a break of the all-time high. The next halving cycle, we had two parabolic advances, break of the all-time high, held above the 21-week EMA in both of those cycles. And right now, Bitcoin seems to be looking for that second parabolic advance in this halving cycle. We are also above the 21-week EMA. And as you guys can see in all these other cycles, Bitcoin breaks above the previous high of the first parabolic advance, finds support along it, and continues up, and then we break the all-time high. Just like this area here, we have the previous high of the first parabolic advance, and it turns into support here. We use it as support, and we continue to rally up and break the all-time high. And right now, Bitcoin is looking similar. If we're going to enter that pattern in a similar way, then we should expect that eventually we're going to be looking to find some support along this previous high area. So with the way that I think this might play out right now, I think it's possible that Bitcoin could be looking to continue this move to the upside and test 12, 13,000 and actually pull back to the levels that we're at right now. And then we would see a bounce off the 21-week EMA and look to hold above that going into the halving, and then break out into our next parabolic advance up to the all-time highs and pulling back to our upward sloping trend line, potentially meeting the 21-week EMA once again before continuing this bullish trend to break the all-time high. If Bitcoin truly is entering a long-term bull market, this is what I think is most likely right now. I think we would hit the 21-week EMA before we break the previous high at 14,000, and then we would hit it again as we're meeting the upward sloping trend for the second time. And this is really all based off the previous halving cycles and how these played out, right? And I do think that Bitcoin is going to be looking to do something similar here going into the next year. So keep this in mind, guys. It's possible, from the way that I'm looking at the chart, it's possible that Bitcoin could be looking to rally up to some highs, 12, 13,000, and then pull back to the 21-week EMA, which could be at the levels that we're at right now, right? So keep that in mind. Even if we continue up, just keep in mind there's going to be a pullback at some point, and I do think the next major pullback, if Bitcoin continues up, could bring us back to the 21-week EMA at these current levels. Now, of course, we'll have to see how this actually plays out. Will Bitcoin do this the way that I have this mapped out? I'm not totally sure. Is it possible that we see a pullback to the 21-week EMA sooner rather than later? It's totally possible as well. But I do think the 21-week EMA is going to be a key level of interest for the bulls on the next pullback. Whether we pull back now and pull back to 91, 9200, find support and continue up, or if we continue this parabolic move to 12, 13,000 and then pull back to the 21-week EMA to these current levels and then rally out and going into the halving. This is something that I think is actually quite likely, quite possible. As I mentioned in the beginning of the video, Bitcoin dominance is beginning to decrease, right? We're coming back down to 61.7% dominance for Bitcoin, and altcoins are gaining dominance. Not too long ago, I released an altcoin video talking about, the long-term picture for altcoins. And if we're just taking a look at that again, we can see Ethereum is putting in some incredible long-term market structure here. We see this higher low here. This is the weekly chart. We're seeing really nice higher lows here for Ethereum. Just seeing a straight parabolic run to the upside. And as I was saying in the altcoin video, accumulating Ethereum below $380 is long-term a good area to accumulate, right? And if you've been accumulating since that I released that video, well, you've been making gains. Even if we see a pullback in the altcoin market at some point, as long as we're making higher lows on the weekly chart, then things do look really good here. As long as we're making higher lows, things look really good for altcoins. And also XRP even is seeing a nice move to the upside. Interestingly enough, for the past 2 years, XRP was in a descending triangle. I was trying to warn the XRP community about this for years, that we were forming a large-scale descending triangle, and we were likely to get a breakdown. And we did get that breakdown. We hit like 17 cents here, and we've since then rallied with the rest of the market. A lot of people have been talking about an XRP breakout, although in the way that I'm analyzing the XRP, I'm looking at this descending triangle pattern. So XRP is seeing a breakout above that previous macro high, although we have not exited this descending triangle pattern where we're seeing lower highs here. So if XRP can break above 35 cents, if XRP can get a breakout here and then retest the resistance as support and continue up, that would be a true breakout. You'd be looking for a break, hook, and go on the weekly chart. And if Bitcoin is truly entering a bull market, then right now is a great opportunity to get involved in altcoins. But that's going to be it for me today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope this video helps you. I hope these videos help guide you and help you understand Bitcoin from a long-term perspective. Be sure to sign up with the CryptoWatch platform and be sure to join the Patreon if you want to take a look at what altcoins I'm accumulating. And I will see you all in the next video.